The following story has been brought to you by StoriesToInspire.org.
There's a couple got married, and I don't know how religious they were at the time. They lived in Brooklyn, they lived in New York, and then they were going to go move back to his country, Curac. Anyhow, they moved out there, and they were going to try. I don't know how religious they were at the time. I forget. If I got missing details, you'll correct me. But they were trying to build up some level of religious life out there, and they try to get kosher food and clothing and such, and they finally decide they're going to make a mikveh. And the problem with, you know the story, the problem with Curaçao is it doesn't rain ever. So they decided to call in a rabbi. There's rabbis who do this, who handle mikvehs, and they called in the rabbi to make the plans. They made the plans, and he had nice plans. It seemed like a job they can do. They started putting it up, and then the couple, they said, you know what, they really stopped in the middle. I don't know if they lost their motivation or didn't have the money or said it's a ridiculous project. Anyhow, it's never going to rain anyway, so it has to be rainwater. So they stopped it. After a while, they called the rabbi back, just feeling guilty. The rabbi said, listen, whenever you're ready, we can do it. A month later, he calls the rabbi back. The rabbi comes in. They fix up the mikveh. It's beautiful, ready to go. Problem is, zero water. Zero water. So a mikveh without water is not really useful. So they called, they figured at least they'll test it. So they put a hose into the mikveh, filled it up with water, looking at the thing, and after a few minutes, it started to leak. So they had to call in another rabbi, fly in a rabbi, to put in some pool item, seal into something, to make it that now it doesn't leak. Beautiful. Now they have empty mikveh. The water from the hose is no good. You need rainwater. It takes about 6 years worth of rain to fill up a mikveh. In that place. In that place where it rains over there, the way it rains, the rainy system over there is, it would take about 6 years, based on the normal standard rain procedure, it would take about 6 years for it to fill. But they decided they're going to do it. And they did. The man, I don't know if it was a few weeks later, was going on a business trip. And when he leaves his house, he sees it starting to drizzle. Now drizzling, wow, it's drizzling. So he calls his wife, it's drizzling. Make sure the mikveh is set up to accept the water. By the time he gets to the airport, it's starting to rain. And when he left the country, it was pouring and pouring. In the course of that month, 1 month, they filled up the entire mikveh. It rained in 1 month the amount that it rains normally in 3 years. And since it happened in so time, it was able to fill up the entire mikveh. If you were living there, you would have said that it's a clear miracle. It wasn't even like a half-baked miracle. You talk to the people, it was just absolutely ridiculous. Recognize that that's how your life works. Recognize that very often when you make a decision, it's really what Hashem decides to put into that decision. And very often, it's what Hashem decides to put into that direction you took. What have you decide to put your children into a school, and then what happens to the school? Over the next 12 years, your kids are there. You try to get married, you think you have any clue who you're marrying when you get married? It's a joke. The whole concept, to be honest with you, is a joke. It's the truth. You get married, no one knows each other. I don't care how long you dated. That's the story you don't really know. And then it's what Hashem puts in the marriage. And when you take a job, it's the same thing. The career could look unbelievable. One industry could look like it's doing phenomenal. The other industry could look like it's doing terrible. And then it can change in an instant. Recognize, don't allow yourself to beat yourself up over your decision. No matter how bad the decision seems to be, you can always recover. Thank you.
Enjoyed this story? Come again. Bring a friend. StoriesToInspire.org